There's a lot of things that a lot of these guys do I wouldn't think about doing. To each his own. Road, what is it? Load management.
Yep, right.
Like can you imagine somebody
Never.
telling me we gonna rest you tonight? What do you mean rest me? It's a game.
Or you coming into the season and going like this, I got 82 games. Count on me missing 20.
No. I mean, I'm not cut from that type of club. I'm not built like that.
And then they complain about the season's too long. And it's just like, listen, man, you know, you got to understand, you know, most of us come from families where our parents had to work 2 or 3 jobs to get us to where we are today. Okay. We didn't have the money. I know my family didn't have the money to send me all these camps and stuff. Okay. So it would be a disservice to anyone who didn't remember what their parents did to get them there. It'd be a disservice to them if you cut corners and you didn't work as hard as them and have the work ethic that they had. It's a slap in their face.
When looking back at various NBA legends, guys who transcended the NBA transcended basketball, there's about one of those guys every 10 to 15 years. And looking at the 2000s, one of those guys undoubtedly was Allen Iverson, the people's champion. And looking at someone like Iverson, why fans love him, isn't because he scored 30,000 points, made 17 All-Star games, or won 5 championships. Why fans love Allen Iverson is his attitude and approach to the game. As of course back in Iverson's era, he played as much as possible, as often as possible.
But you know on game day.
Right, he gonna give you everything.
And he gonna bring it.
And he was, you know, everybody want to be franchise players. He was gonna play 82 games. These franchise players now, they gonna take days off and have rest periods and all that. AI wasn't doing that.
Guys nowadays playing all 82 games, playing 40 minutes per game, is simply unheard of. And what it comes down to is mentality and mindset. As again, looking at Iverson, his approach to this season was quite simple. It's not a marathon where you're going to pace yourself. The NBA season to Allen Iverson was a series of sprints, one game after the other. You play 40, 45 minutes per game, then you rest, recover, do it the next night. It's not a marathon where you pace yourself playing 33 or 34 minutes.
But I just can't imagine you telling me, like, you're not playing tonight, we're going to rest you. And I'm like, what do you mean? You want to bring up the word practice. Practice, shit, rest me tomorrow at practice.
Right.
You know what I mean? Don't rest me when we got a game. And then I always used to think about this, Steve, throughout my career. Even when I was hurt, like, damn, I used to be, you know, obviously I couldn't be in the foxhole with my guys, but I used to always think, like, somebody, it might be that kid or that person's only opportunity to see me get down.
So once again, stopping Iverson right there very quickly, why fans love this guy, revere this guy, is he was a warrior who played as often as possible, and the vast majority of times played through injuries. For a lot of superstars nowadays, it's the exact opposite. And for these teams, they're actually inventing injuries and inventing phrases to make guys not play. And here's a big distinction. Being injured versus being hurt. If you're hurt, you can play through that. If you're injured, you simply can't. It is what it is. A lot of these guys, though, they're not injured, they're just hurt. And still that being the case, they refuse to play.
You know, these kids have to understand there's people come to these games and they want to see Michael Jordan. They want to see, Durant. They want to see LeBron James. This might be the only time they're able to see him. And they come to see the one game where you decide to have load management. You know, even if Michael never did that. Michael never set out games. Yeah. If Michael set out a game, he made sure he played at least 25 minutes so you saw him play. Whether it be preseason, he didn't miss any regular season games. But during preseason where most stars sit out, he played. I mean, we played in Lincoln, Nebraska. We played in Sioux Falls. We played in some small venues to get the people who may not be able to get to a big city to see us. We go into those places and play. And most star players, I'm not playing in Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm sitting out. Michael would play first and third quarter, 24 minutes to let people see, because he recognized, and Kobe's the same way, that this might be the only time that they're able to afford to see me play.
So stopping Stacey King right there, when it comes to Michael Jordan's era, the old school NBA, these guys weren't just playing 75, 80 games per season, they were also playing 8 preseason games before the year even started. And those games, they weren't low managing. Like Iverson said, they were playing for the fans. And here's the added wrinkle. When it comes to preseason games, back in the day, you're playing at random venues across the country. Lincoln, Nebraska, Chapel Hill, Columbus, St. Louis, these random places that don't have NBA teams. If you lived in that city, that state, you didn't have an NBA team. For guys like Jordan, Magic, and Bird, this is your one chance in your lifetime to watch those guys play in person. And picking a random Jordan season, look at 1989. Michael Jordan on the season, he played 81 games. But looking at the preseason, played 8 more. Now, when it comes to Jordan's game log, the minutes totals simply aren't available. They probably weren't recorded. But looking at his scoring total, you see 25 points, 29 points, and 2 games of 36. So Michael Jordan in these games, if I had to guess, was probably playing 25, 30 minutes, 35 minutes at the max. So if you're someone in Knoxville, Tennessee, you don't have an NBA team, and you see Jordan scored 25 points in a preseason game, that's a moment that lasts a lifetime. You might call it cliche or corny or whatever, but for someone like Jordan to face the NBA, deep down, he cared about the fans and the health of the league from a performance standpoint. As of course that season, didn't just play 81 games, but 8 games in the preseason.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Now, looking past Jordan the individual with the entire NBA, the standard back then in 1989 was that players played as often as possible. And looking at the elite players, even for those guys, the bar was playing 79 or 80 games per season. I mean, look at the Western Conference All-Stars, the starting 5. Games played, Stockton 82, English 82, Malone 80, Dale Ellis 82, and Hakeem 82. Out of the starting lineup at the West, 4 of the 5 guys played every single game, and in total, 408 out of 410 possible games. Now look at the East, almost equally as impressive. Michael Jordan, 81 games played, Isaiah 80, Barkley 79, Moses 81, and Dominique 80. Looking at the Eastern Conference All-Stars and the Western Conference All-Stars, the weakling out of the bunch was Charles Barkley, who still played 79 games.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Now here's the important point, the comparison, 89 versus 2025. Looking at last year's starting 5 All-Stars from Team Shaq, games played, Tatum, 72. He missed 10. Steph Curry, 70. He missed 12. James Harden, 79. He missed 3. Durant barely cracked 60. And Dame only at 58. Looking at the Team Shaq All-Stars, the starting 5, in total, they missed nearly 70 games. Now Team Chuck, slightly better, games missed in total was only 43. Then Team Kenny, a tad bit worse, as games missed was 54. If you look at those totals right there from Team Shaq, Team Kenny, and Team Chuck, games missed were 43, 54, and 69. Here's some perspective. John Stockton alone, for 19 years, only missed 22 games.
Nothing is impossible.
I mean, that right there will simply blow your mind. And again, looking at someone like Charles, 89, he played 79 games, the fewest out of either starting 5. James Harden, 2025, he plays that many games. He's the leader by a mile in games played that season for All-Star starters. So that right there is the end of the video, and I'll say one last thing. For guys like Stacey King, Iverson, Barkley, yes, those guys, they weren't perfect. They had their flaws. But for guys like Barkley and Iverson, who were superstar players, their desire to play compete was simply never questioned. And when it comes to the paying customer, these guys, even now, they value that in their post-playing career. Players nowadays, that's one thing that's really lacking. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.